All right, let's jump in this burrito roll method. This is for the notch top and dress, but you can use this burrito roll method for fully lining any kind of tank top style bodice. I have my main back and front and my lining back and front. My plain blue is going to be my lining, and this fun Cinderella fabric is going to be my main fabric. So first things first, we're going to sew up the shoulder seams on our main fabric, and then we're going to repeat the same thing with our lining. And to keep the video from being too insanely boring, I'm not going to show all my stitching. I'm just going to explain the steps so that it can be nice and clear for you to do on your own pieces. Right, so now that our shoulder seams are sewn up, we're going to place our lining and our main fabric's right sides together, and we're going to align our neckline. If you're doing the notch option like me, you're going to sew up your notch first. Otherwise, you're going to finish your neckline all the way around with whatever option you're doing. Another little note here is it's really important to nest your shoulder seams. Because this gets kind of bulky right here, what you're going to do is line up your seams and then press one seam allowance to the back and one to the front. This helps it not be quite as bulky on your shoulder seams, and it will help when you're stitching those arm size and when you're pulling your bodice through, and you'll see that in a little while. But it is important to nest your seams. It's always a good idea to nest your seams, but very important on a burrito roll tank top. Note here that your lining is a little bit lower than your main fabric. This helps, once it's all sewn up, to bring your main fabric to wrap around to the wrong side to your lining. This helps your lining not kind of peek out as you're wearing it. If you've ever noticed when you've lined a bodice and it does not have this, then you can kind of see that lining peeking out sometimes. I really like my lined bodices to have this little feature. You do have to ease in this lining, as you can see. It's not very much, it's very, very slight, but it is enough that you have to pay attention. You can't just start at one end and zip around, or you'll probably end up with way too much lining at the end. So take your time and pin or clip all the way around, making sure you're easing that lining into the main fabric. Okay, sewn around the neckline now, and the notch if you're doing the notch option. And what we're going to do is we're going to flip it right sides out, the wrong sides together. Okay, you can press it right now, or you can wait until the very end to press it. I'm waiting till the very end so that this video isn't too long. And I'll be honest, I usually wait till the end anyways and give it one solid press all the way around. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to start the rolling process here. So I'm going to start at the bottom, and I am going to roll my side seams up. And this is where you create what you can call your burrito roll. So the rolled up fabric is now your burrito roll, and you're going to stop rolling at the shoulder seam right here. You want a nice tight burrito, and then you're going to flip the unrolled fabric, lining and main, so that your lining is face up, your main is face up, and then you're going to take your lining and going up and over your burrito roll, pin it right sides together along the arm side. Your burrito rolled fabric will be inside your other shoulder strap you are pinning together. This is one of those things where it's really kind of hard to understand just written words, and it's much easier watching somebody do it. So I hope this video helps if you've never done a burrito roll. Once you've done it a couple times, you'll be able to do it with your eyes closed, no problem. But it's just one of those things that's really hard to envision unless you watch somebody do it. Again, the lining is going to be slightly lower and need to be eased into the main fabric just slightly, not too much. Okay, now we're going to stitch all along this arm side, and you need to be careful not to catch that burrito rolled fabric in your stitch line. You really got to take your time and go slow when you're stitching and make sure it's not in the way of your stitching. Okay? Now what we're going to do is we're going to pull our fabric out, and you want to go nice and slowly. Don't tug too hard. It's going to take some time depending on your fabric type. The slinkier the fabric, the easier it will be to pull. I have 2 cotton spandexes here, so the Cinderella especially is a really thick and stable cotton lycra, so it takes me a bit to get through, but that's okay. If you are sewing a bodice that has multiple layers and the straps are thinner, it can take a little time to pull them through, but that's okay. I'm just showing off here how the mane wraps around towards the underside a little bit. And now we're just going to repeat the exact same thing on the other arm side. So instead of rolling up, I'm going to roll down, stopping at the shoulder seam. And again, I'm going to take that lining fabric and I'm going to flip it up and away. So now our burrito roll sits right on that the shoulder seam between the 2 fabrics. Take the lining up and over the burrito roll, again nesting those shoulder seams. And we're just going to pin, pin, pin and stitch, making sure to not catch the burrito rolled up fabric in there. Okay, same thing, you're just going to pull it out one more time. And I sped it up to not bore you. And now you can give your whole bodice a really good press. There we go. And you can see that main fabric kind of wraps under to the underside so that you don't see any of that lining fabric peeking out. Okay. You can top stitch your neckline now. I usually wait because you cannot top stitch the arm side yet. You have to sew up your side seams. So let's do that. I'm going to open up your lining and mane and then set them back bodice right onto the front bodice and stitch down these side seams. So you should have lining to lining, armpit seam to armpit seam, and mane to mane. And you're going to stitch through that armpit seam on both sides. The burrito roll method gives a really beautiful finish all along the neckline, arm sides, side seams. It's a really nice, neat, beautiful finish. All right, so now we're going to stitch down both these side seams. Okay, and now I'm just going to turn it right sides out for you. You can give the armpit another little press right here. Good steam with the iron will make that nice and beautiful. Okay, and now's the time where you can top stitch all along the arm size, the neckline. Go for it everywhere. You are safe to top stitch it all. I hope this helps, and I hope you enjoyed this burrito roll method. Bye, y'all.